Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is sprawling in every sense of the word. From its dense world full of wonder to its many convoluted systems, it's a game that requires a big commitment, not only in terms of dozens of hours of playtime, but also a willingness to explore, engage, and understand. It's a hefty investment, one that will understandably turn some away immediately and frustrate others only a few hours in. Yet patience in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is ultimately rewarded. It is a true journey, one that demands perseverance and offers immense satisfaction and emotional payoff in return.
An entire horizon of white, a sea of clouds, and at its heart, the world tree, piercing the heavens. This is the world we call home. All rest.
Much like with Chronicles X and the original Xenoblade Chronicles, the environments are the true star. The game takes place entirely on the bodies of gigantic beings known as Titans. These Titans float among a sea of clouds blanketing the world and serve as the only inhabitable environments. It's an intriguing idea that doesn't grow old, resulting in creative moments time and again. Running to the edge of a grassy plain only to stare out at a swath of clouds leaves a remarkable impression, one made even better by the fact that you can swim through these clouds. The secrets and locations you can explore change depending on the rise and fall of the cloudy sea, like tide pools on a shore.
Height of cloud sea is different at different times. Why height change?
Tora, let Rex answer that one.
Of course, secrets only feel special if they take some effort to find. The twisting, multi-layered, and nested landscapes of Chronicles 2 accomplish this quite well. There are areas we thought we explored thoroughly, only to eventually discover entirely new chunks of land, ready to be combed over. The specially designated secret areas are crafted in a way that's often very deserving of the attention the game draws to them. Sometimes they offer panoramic views of the valleys and fields you spend so much time in. Others are curious or grand scenes, carefully constructed for a small space. Although the prize for finding these spaces is substantial, often coming bundled with a lot of money and rare materials, it's their distinct nature that makes them so appealing, adding a crucial sense of awe to the overall adventure. The few areas that do feel haphazardly thrown together are even more noticeable as a result. Several indoor areas, in particular, are little more than a deluge of brown rectangular spaces. It's expected that some environments will be less impressive than others, but these sections are so drab that it's hard to ignore how sloppy they feel.
Don't worry, it's just a scratch. That was on purpose! You were hurting me on purpose, weren't you?
While the bulk of exploration occurs just in walking from one place to another, Chronicles 2 does get a bit playful with how to access specific locations. You may need a gust of wind to shoot into the treetops, or the right abilities to burn through thick branches. Because you likely won't have these abilities right away, there's a decent incentive to return later to tie up loose ends. Big areas, those with a central town and a multitude of side quests, always come back around in one way or another, maintaining a continued relevance that ingrains them into your brain. It lends the locales an almost comforting level of familiarity.
These ships look different to normal ships.
Yeah, we don't muck about with our Titans much. No need for it. Orions like things pretty natural.
The best role-playing games aren't the ones you just visit, but rather truly inhabit, a sensation that only occurs when there's enough detail and mystery to pull you in, beyond the compulsive desire of merely ticking off checkboxes. Developer Monolith Soft seems to understand this as well, ensuring that the tasks given are often just an excuse to kick a player out into the world, where curiosity is met in full force with plenty of fantastical creatures and captivating sights.
What have we here?
The tropes employed with the narrative and characters are easily identifiable because of how readily and repeatedly they jump out at you. Rex, the plucky and bright-eyed main character, is unwaveringly optimistic, even going so far as to proclaim that tasks can be overcome with the power of friendship. He's just one of the many examples of something you'll probably be overly familiar with if you have even the slightest experience with JRPGs or shonen anime. Yet once you're able to move past the fact that the ideas presented are far from original, it's easy to see how effectively they're implemented. Rex's enthusiasm, for instance, serves as a nice counterbalance to the sharp tongue and cynical outlook of his comrade Nia. Nia's blunt nature is welcome considering those surrounding her dance around problems or hide things from others.
Well, don't just stand there. You've got your orders, haven't you?
It's great how relevant the core cast remains from their introduction right through to the very end of the game. Even as the stakes get increasingly raised, almost every character contributes to the conversation. How you come to know these characters is thoughtfully paced as well. Zeke, who starts off as little more than slapstick comedic relief, gets slowly integrated not only into the immediate problems of the party, but the big picture political conflicts of the world. The integration happens slowly and carefully, following a carrot-on-a-stick approach that also applies to the game's broader mysteries.
Wait! Wait, you barbarians!
And what mysteries they are, including the nature of the Titans, the struggle for the territory they provide, and the intriguing truth behind blades, powerful elemental beings used as weapons that rest at the heart of the story. Chronicles 2 quickly gets into the rhythm of displaying something dramatic, be it crucial character development or a long-awaited piece of the narrative puzzle, only to hint at something far greater mere moments later. There's always an immediate and tangible thing to process, while at the same time, you'll be dying to know more.
Hasn't stopped. You mean that bell sound? Is the Praetorium somewhere nearby? Where are we?
This is Elysium.
It's not always smooth though, particularly toward the back half of the game, which floods the player with cutscenes. These scenes wouldn't be so much of a problem if they felt worthwhile. Instead, it's mostly a parade of flashbacks that are either overly cryptic or touch on things already obvious. The story spins its wheels at a time when things should be most exciting, serving as a peculiar weak spot to an otherwise interesting tale.
No! We lost the upper hand!
Combat is both an evolution and a mutation from previous Chronicles games. Though there are many components, it essentially boils down to racking up the biggest combo possible, akin to building a tower of bricks and then kicking them over. Characters can equip multiple blades, the aforementioned elemental beings. These blades provide a weapon to the character that equips them, which, in turn, offers its selection of skills known as arts. Arts have special effects, such as healing, disabling the enemy, or causing more damage when the enemy is in a certain condition. Over time, you'll build up a special art, a powerful attack that does a lot of damage and corresponds to a particular element. From this, you can chain together more powerful special arts from yourself or other characters.
We'll do it together!
Stop!
We're up, Gramps. Pyra!
I've got this.
Excellent!
In a practical sense, you're finding the most synergistic ways to combine your party's tools to do the most damage. Considering enemies have a lot of health, you only do yourself a disservice if you just hack away and disregard how arts fit together. Tuning your party so that they can work together efficiently is satisfying, but not as satisfying as seeing the enormous combos play out. Arts get increasingly ridiculous as you chain them together, leading to special animations, rallying cries from your blades, and a detached voice energetically bellowing out words like awesome or magnificent. If secrets and fantastic views offer incentive to explore, the grandiose audio and visual feedback during combat makes you feel great for putting in the effort to learn and exploit the systems.
Mia's turn. On it.
Let us settle this. Good. Finish!
Blades, which are essential to combat, are largely treated like collectible cards. Throughout the game, you'll gather crystals from which you can summon blades. Sometimes that means summoning a rare blade that fits right into your party, and other times it means summoning a weak blade that's never used in battle. The randomness sounds frustrating, but it's never actually a problem. The game inundates the player with so many blades that not only do you have what you need to get through the story, but also more than enough to try out different strategies. Those weak blades aren't completely worthless either, since you can send them on timed missions where they'll bring back experience, money, and items, which helps significantly.
Shoulder to the wheel! Right, Barry?
If only managing blades was a little less irritating. As you explore, you'll encounter obstacles that you can only bypass with certain blade skills. If the current loadout of blades doesn't have the skills already, players must go into the menu, switch around blades, potentially for multiple characters, get over the obstacle, and then switch back to what they want for battle. It's an exceptionally drawn-out process for something so simple. The same is true of collecting materials. If one of your blades has a gathering skill, a giant picture of the blade flashes on the screen, and they'll trip out a phrase before you can pick up the items. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad once in a while, but considering the overwhelming abundance of things to gather, it gets extremely old, extremely fast. The same is true of the chaotic volcano of noise that erupts from your party and enemies in every battle. Both sides repeat the same banal phrases over and over again, quickly becoming obnoxious.
Let's go. This one's
Found us.
Thankfully, the soundtrack is thoroughly excellent from beginning to end. Each track blends so well with whatever environment you happen to be in at the time. Running through the open grasslands of Gormott during the day is accompanied by soaring strings that make you instantly feel like you're going to stumble upon something wondrous. Sparse choral tracks come at just the right time, managing to be very musically different from everything that came before, yet perfectly appropriate for the grand areas they're placed in. While some game soundtracks need to be appreciated in the context they're presented in, the songs here can be listened to in any setting because of how individually strong they are.
As long as you have goals to achieve, there's no reason for you to stop. And your blade will help you in that.
For as much as the game asks of its players, it gives just as much back, if not more, in return. In every aspect, you can see the love and care that went into it, be it the charming characters, inventive world, or carefully contextualized story. Pure fantasy is at its best when it desperately and genuinely wants to transport its audience to a place that is so very different, yet immediately relatable. To do that, it must in some ways believe in the magic it's trying to sell. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 absolutely believes, and is all the better for it.
What now? Did you both forget your lines?
Script of Uriah goes to war. End here. No more lines to say.
Thank you for coming today, everyone.
You forced me to take part in this thing, and then it just ends like that. This is so not satisfying.
Easy Allies reviews are made possible by generous viewers just like you. If you like what you see, check out patreon.com/easyallies to see our other videos. And consider becoming a patron to help us make more.
Cutie, cutie. Lovely, lovely. Blushy, crushy. Tee-hee.
Pyra, please do not tell me you're gonna...
Cutie. Lovely, lovely, blushy, crushy, tee-hee.
Oh, there we go.